Brigadier General Samantha Sam Carter was having a good day until she wasn't. It started off normal enough. She had just won a heated debate in the Pentagon about whether or not the Army needed flamethrower-equipped battle cows. They did not, but she made a compelling case. She was enjoying her victory coffee, brewed from a machine that she had personally threatened into working, when the alert came through. Her son, Tommy, had been vaporized by aliens. Over a plastic lightsaber, there was a solid 5 seconds of silence in the room as Sam processed this information. Then, with the serene calm of a woman who had absolutely lost her mind, she stood up, flipped her desk with enough force to take out a junior officer, and fired 2 shots into the ceiling. "Ma'am, please." Her adjutant started ducking, falling debris. Sam ignored him, reaching for the red phone. "Get me the Joint Chiefs." Ma'am, I don't think—" She leveled a look at him that could peel paint off a battleship. The call went through. "Carter?" came the voice on the other end. "We just got the report. Listen, we understand you're upset, but I'm beyond upset, sir," she said, voice eerily calm. "I am issuing an immediate tactical nuclear strike on the perpetrators." There was a choking sound on the other end. "Carter, you do not have the authority to—" "Who's going to stop me?" she asked, already marching toward the armory. The Pentagon was very well secured, but it had never been designed to contain someone like Sam. In under 10 minutes, she had stolen classified launch codes, hijacked a Black Hawk, and left a trail of unconscious MPs in her wake. The only reason the president himself hadn't called her was because he was reportedly taking a nap, and no one wanted to wake him. By the time anyone caught up, she was already inside the warship that did not exist. The USS Extra Spicy was a classified experiment in applied overkill. Armed with weapons so ridiculous that Congress had literally refused to fund it on moral grounds, the ship had been locked away in a dry dock under a security clearance so high that even God wasn't sure if he had access. Sam broke in with a crowbar. The ship's AI, which had not been active since its creation, booted up in confusion. "Who authorized— I did." Sam slammed a fist on the console. "We are now in a state of maximum unauthorized vengeance." The ship, which had been programmed for extreme aggression, considered this acceptable. She put out a call to every lunatic she had ever served with. Within 20 minutes, she had a crew of exactly the wrong people for any kind of controlled operation. Sergeant Boomer O'Malley, an explosives expert with no impulse control, reported in first. "I brought my own detonators," he said, unzipping a duffel bag filled with things that should not legally exist. Next was Captain Hack Vasquez, a hacker who had once taken down the UN internet infrastructure because someone called her a noob in an online game. "You're gonna need me," she said. "The Gorgothans are bureaucratic nightmares. I'm fluent in their paperwork." Corporal Just Doug, showed up on accident after getting lost on the way to a different mission. "I thought this was the mess hall," he said, confused. Sam didn't question it. Doug had survived 14 spaceship crashes, so she figured he was good luck. Last was Gunnery Sergeant Big Mike, who punched the door open instead of using the handle. "Who we killin'?" he asked, cracking his knuckles. Sam grinned. "Aliens." "Oh, hell yeah." The moment the ship took off, the Pentagon collectively lost its mind. A dozen calls from Washington, D.C. came through, all of them ignored. The Gorgothan Empire, meanwhile, had no idea what was coming. Outpost. Whiskey Tango 9, the same Gorgothan military checkpoint that had vaporized Tommy, received a distress signal from a nearby ship. "This is U.S. diplomatic vessel Peaceful Intentions," the transmission said, "requesting immediate docking." The patrol officer, who had failed every single exam he had ever taken, sighed. "Ugh. Another stupid human request. Fine. Whatever. Docking approved." He didn't know that Peaceful Intentions was actually the USS Extra Spicy, and it had 12 fully armed missile pods aimed directly at his station. The ship landed. The doors did not open normally. They exploded off the hinges, and Sam stepped through, wearing aviator sunglasses and carrying a grenade launcher. "Hi," she said. "I have a question." The Gorgathan officers stared in absolute terror. Who was responsible for the vaporization of Tommy Carter, age 7, winner of the 2nd grade spelling bee in my entire heart and soul? The Gorgathan commander, who had not been trained for this, gulped. Boomer sneezed. His finger slipped on the detonator. The entire space station exploded. The transmission to the Gorgathan High Command cut off mid-scream. Back in the Empire's central control hub, an alien bureaucrat looked up from his paperwork. Huh, he said. That's weird. The Whiskey Tango 9 station just disappeared. His supervisor sighed. It's probably a clerical error. Meanwhile, on the smoking wreckage of the station, Sam cracked her knuckles. Well, she said, I was going to do diplomacy, but I guess we're at war now. The USS Extra Spicy hovered over the smoldering wreckage of Outpost Whiskey Tango 9 like a judge, jury, and overarmed executioner. Inside, Sam Carter sat in her captain's chair, technically stolen, but at this point, ownership was a mere formality, staring at the tactical screen with the kind of predatory focus that had made her both feared and heavily supervised in the U.S. Army. Boomer, still holding the detonator he had accidentally pressed, cleared his throat. So, he said, technically, that was my bad. Sam considered this. Boomer, on a scale of 1 to we're now intergalactic terrorists, where do you think we land? Boomer tilted his head, thinking. Somewhere around highly wanted criminals with a side of war crimes. Hack, who had been halfway through hacking the Gorgathan security network when Boomer had obliterated the entire station, sighed and cracked her knuckles. Well, I was going to be sneaky about this, but since we just loudly announced our presence to the galaxy, I'm moving to Plan B. Sam raised an eyebrow. Dare I ask what Plan B is? Hack grinned, causing widespread bureaucratic collapse. With a few keystrokes, she was inside the Galactic Bureaucratic Network, a vast and deeply inefficient data system that ran the Gorgathan Empire. She sifted through mandatory lunch break schedules, ridiculous tax codes, and approximately 47,000 forms that required a supervisor's approval to use the bathroom before she found what she was looking for. What if, she said, eyes gleaming, I issued a mandatory pay cut to every single Gorgathan soldier in the Empire? Boomer gasped in admiration. Oh, that is evil. Sam's lips curled into a grin. Do it. Hack slammed the enter key like a pianist playing the final note of a masterpiece. Across the Empire, millions of Gorgathan soldiers received the alert at the same time. Notice, due to budgetary constraints, all military salaries will be cut by 80%. We appreciate your service. For precisely 30 seconds, nothing happened. Then, absolute chaos. On the Gorgathan homeworld, a high-ranking officer named Supreme Logistics Commander Fraggle took a long, slow sip of his morning swamp milk. He had just finished filling out Form 387B, request for additional printer ink, when his terminal beeped with an incoming message. He skimmed it. Then he skimmed it again. Then he screamed so loudly that his office chair caught fire. Within minutes, mass resignations flooded the system. Soldiers, pilots, bureaucrats, every single branch of the Empire's military quit on the spot. On one Gorgathan battleship, a mutiny broke out because the crew decided they'd rather become space pirates than work for reduced wages. On a supply freighter, the entire logistics team just went home. In one particularly dramatic case, an entire battalion of soldiers flipped their commanding officer upside down and used him as a battering ram to break out of their barracks. Hack, watching all of this unfold from her screen, gave a low whistle. Damn, they're taking this worse than I expected. Sam nodded approvingly. Good. Doug, who had been staring at a button labeled Launch All Missiles for the past 10 minutes, finally spoke up. So, what's the next step? Do we just keep blowing stuff up? Sam drummed her fingers on the armrest, thinking. No, she said slowly. Blowing things up is Plan A. We need a Plan C. Boomer frowned. What was plan B again? Hack smirked. This. She pointed at the monitor, where a Gorgothan military news broadcast had just come up. The news anchor, a severely stressed Gorgothan in an ill-fitting uniform, was reading from a very shaky teleprompter. Breaking news. The military is in full-blown collapse after the catastrophic payroll announcement. In a stunning revelation, sources inside High Command have stated that this was caused by a single rogue human. Warlord, the Emperor has declared a state of emergency and… Wait. What? Humans? That's not possible. They're primitive. The anchor turned to someone off-screen. Are you telling me we're losing to a species that still uses combustion engines? Screen cut to static. Sam grinned. Perfect. Big Mike cracked his knuckles. I don't really do cyber warfare, but I'm just saying, at some point, I'd like to punch something. Don't worry, Sam assured him. We're about to give them something to panic about. Hack looked up. You mean more than destroying their economy overnight? Sam leaned forward, eyes gleaming. Oh, absolutely. 1 hour later, the USS Extra Spicy was parked in low orbit over a major Gorgothan training facility. Through the cockpit window, Sam could see thousands of alien recruits lined up in neat rows below. They were completely unaware that a ship filled with human lunatics was watching them like a pack of wolves, eyeing a field of very dumb sheep. Boomer, Sam said, voice filled with quiet menace. Do we have anything particularly stupid? In the weapons bay? Boomer scratched his chin. Well, there's the orbital clown bomb. Everyone turned to stare at him. What? Sam said flatly. Boomer shrugged. It's an old psychological warfare tool. You drop it, and it blasts out extremely loud, circus music, while deploying 500 inflatable clown dolls into the battlefield, supposed to confuse the enemy. Sam blinked. Why does this exist? Boomer grinned. Because someone in the Pentagon had a weird sense of humor. Sam thought about it for exactly 2 seconds. Load it up. Boomer cheered. Down on the training grounds, a Gorgothan drill sergeant was screaming at his cadets about proper laser rifle maintenance when a loud, echoing noise rolled across the base. Honk, honk, honk. It was circus music. The soldiers froze. 1. Cadet turned to his neighbor. Sir, is this normal? Before anyone could answer, 500 inflatable clown dolls rained from the sky like a divine punishment. They bounced. They honked. Some of them got stuck on rifles. One soldier, panicking, shot a clown doll. It exploded in a shower of confetti. Chaos erupted. Sam, watching from the cockpit, burst into actual tears from laughter. Mission accomplished, she gasped. Hack, send out a fake message to their military command. Tell them it's the first phase of our new invisible death mech program. Hack cackled. You're going to give them a full-blown existential crisis. Sam nodded. That's the plan. An hour later, thousands of desertions flooded in from the Gorgothan military. Sam watched the panic unfold, sipped her coffee, and cracked her knuckles. Next stop, the Emperor's palace. The USS Extra Spicy hurtled through the void at speeds that made physicists cry. Every warning system in the Gorgothan Empire was screaming in terror as the rogue human warship, piloted by the angriest mother in the galaxy, made a beeline for the capital planet, Gorgo Prime. Inside the ship, General Samantha Sam Carter leaned back in her captain's chair, sipping a coffee so strong it could legally be classified as an explosive. She was feeling relaxed, which was terrifying for everyone around her. Boomer, she said, glancing at her demolitions expert, who was currently juggling 3 live grenades. Please tell me we still have an unacceptable amount of firepower left. Boomer caught the grenades, considered the question, and grinned. Oh yeah, we're sitting on enough high-yield explosives to rearrange the planetary crust of Gorgo Prime. Hack, the resident cyber warfare specialist, didn't look up from her console. Technically speaking, that's an act of genocide, Sam shrugged. Technically speaking, they started it. Doug, who had somehow survived every single previous explosion by accident, hesitated. So just to clarify, we are in fact declaring war on the capital planet? Sam nodded. No, Doug. We already declared war. Now we're finalizing the paperwork. Big Mike, cleaning his crowbar, looked up. So, what's the plan? Sam cracked her knuckles. Simple. We crash their fake peace summit, blow up something important, and force the Emperor to admit he's an idiot. Hack frowned. I feel like we should have some kind of strategy. We do, Sam said. Maximum violence. Boomer nodded approvingly. I like it. Doug, who had once survived a direct missile impact by tripping over a bucket, hesitated. How do we land? Everyone turned to look at him. Doug fidgeted. Are we going to, request docking clearance or… Sam gave him the, are you new here look. Doug, she said, we're going to crash the ship directly. Into their palace. Doug blinked. Oh. Boomer clapped him on the back. Welcome to the extra spicy way. Sam smirked. All right, people, let's make history. On the surface of Gorgo Prime, the Grand Imperial Peace Summit was underway. The Gorgothan Emperor, a very large, very incompetent alien named Emperor Slagathor III, sat on his ridiculous golden space throne while dozens of ambassadors from various alien species droned on about diplomatic solutions and long-term peace prospects. Slagathor wasn't listening. He was too busy staring at the giant buffet table, specifically the bowl of imported Earth pineapples. He had once accidentally eaten pineapple on pizza during a diplomatic dinner, and ever since, he had been secretly obsessed with the fruit. But as the Emperor, he couldn't be seen publicly endorsing it, lest his empire devolve into civil war over acceptable pizza toppings. His internal crisis was interrupted by an emergency transmission. Your Excellency, a frantic officer yelled. We have a problem, Slagathor sighed. If this is about the payroll issue again, just tell them they're being dramatic. No, sir. The officer's voice was pure terror. It's the humans, Slagathor frowned. What about them? The officer gulped. They're coming. The palace windows exploded. A battleship the size of a city block crashed into the courtyard with enough force to instantly ruin centuries of architectural heritage. The gathered diplomats screamed as the USS Extra Spicy ground to a halt, steam hissing from its hull. The ship's loading ramp slammed down like the fist of an angry god. A single figure stepped out, boots crunching on the ruined marble. Sam. Carter. She wore aviator sunglasses, combat armor, and the righteous fury of a mother wronged. Greetings, she said, voice perfectly calm. I heard there was a peace summit. The Imperial Guards panicked and opened fire. Boomer threw a grenade at them mid-sneeze. The explosion launched 3 guards into the buffet table, covering them in salad. The remaining guards hesitated, unsure whether to keep fighting or offer medical assistance to the spinach-covered casualties. That was when Big Mike charged forward and punched a Gorgothan tank so hard it flipped over. The remaining guards ran away. Sam turned back to the terrified Emperor. Your Majesty, she said, cracking her knuckles. We need to talk. 10 minutes later, the Emperor sat at his own throne, now slightly on fire, while Sam Carter paced in front of him. This, she said, holding up a fast food receipt, is what started this war. Slagathor squinted. What am I looking at? Sam slammed the receipt onto the table. It's a kid's meal receipt. You vaporized my son because he was holding a 99-cent plastic lightsaber. The entire room went silent. Slagathor, realizing what she was saying, paled. That can't be true. Surely it was… he must have… He was 7, Sam said, voice sharp as a blade. And your soldiers blew him up like he was a Death Star. The Emperor looked around desperately for someone to blame. But unfortunately, he was the highest authority in the room. Sweat dripped down his massive forehead. Well, you see, mistakes happen. Boomer held up a detonator. Slagathor nearly had a heart attack. Wait, fine, we surrender. Hack raised an eyebrow. That's it? Just like that? Slagathor threw up his hands. Do you think I want to be known as the emperor who lost the empire to an angry mother? I surrender. Take whatever you want. Just please don't drop any more clown bombs. Sam crossed her arms. I want a formal apology for the idiotic decision that started this. Slagathor groaned. Fine. I, Emperor Slagathor III, hereby apologize for the unfortunate misidentification of a children's toy as a weapon of mass destruction. There. Happy? Sam smirked. No. Slagathor panicked. What else do you want? Sam thought about it. Then she pointed at the bowl of pineapples. That, she said. All of it. Slagathor gasped. But those are my pineapples. Sam leaned forward. Not anymore. Slagathor sighed, defeated. Fine. Take the damn pineapples. Boomer cheered. Hack took a picture for historical purposes. Doug, who had somehow managed to survive a full-scale assault by sheer dumb luck, muttered, I can't believe that actually worked. Big Mike ate a banana, completely unfazed. Sam picked up the bowl of pineapples, victorious. Well, boys, she said, grinning, looks like we won. And just like that, the war ended. The USS Extra Spicy was parked in the middle of the Imperial Palace's wreckage, smoke rising from the grand courtyard, which now looked like a war crime in progress. The Gorgothan guards who hadn't run screaming into the street stood around awkwardly, still uncertain whether they should fight, surrender, or pretend this wasn't happening. Inside the throne room, or what was left of it, Emperor Slagathor III sat slumped in his gold-plated, pineapple-themed throne, looking thoroughly defeated. He had officially surrendered, agreed to sign any peace treaty that would get these humans to leave, and was currently watching Brigadier General Samantha Carter and her crew celebrate their victory by raiding his private liquor cabinet. I still don't understand, Slagathor muttered, rubbing his temples. How in the name of the galactic bureaucratic order did I lose a war in less than a week? Sam, now lounging on the steps of his throne like she owned the place, took a sip from a stolen bottle of extremely expensive alien whiskey. Oh, that's easy, she said. You underestimated me. Boomer raised his glass. And you massively underestimated how much property damage we're willing to cause. Hack, typing on her console, didn't even look up. By the way, I officially declared this whole thing a misunderstanding in your government system. Congratulations, Your Majesty. This wasn't a war, just an unfortunate diplomatic incident. Slagathor's eye twitched. You... what? Hack grinned. Yep. No war crimes, no battle records, just one really bad week for the Empire. You're welcome. Slagathor was too exhausted to argue. Instead, he just buried his face in his claws. I am going to be assassinated. The moment you leave. Sam patted him on the head. Don't worry. You'll be so unpopular no one will want the job. A terrified officer burst into the room, panting. Your Excellency, the High Council is demanding an explanation. They say this is a coup. The officer stopped mid-sentence when he saw Boomer juggling live grenades, Doug licking a spoon for no reason, and Big Mike crushing a whole coconut with his bare hands. Sam turned to the officer, flashed a winning smile, and gestured at the burning walls around them. Does this look like a coup to you? The officer stared at the wreckage of the palace, the flaming banners, and the upside-down golden statue of the Emperor. No, he said weakly. Sam beamed. See? Just a little diplomatic event. Now who wants to watch the news? Hack pulled up a holographic broadcast. The Gorgothan News Network was in full meltdown mode. The news anchor, visibly sweating, was trying desperately to spin the situation. We now bring you live coverage from Gorgo Prime, where, as you can see, the capital is currently experiencing an unscheduled military exercise. The video feed cut to panicked citizens running away from smoke and explosions. The anchor continued, voice shaking. The Emperor has personally assured us that everything is under control. The video then cut to a live feed of Emperor Slagathor, looking extremely tired, holding a glass of whiskey, and sitting next to Sam Carter, who was waving at the camera. Boomer snorted. Oh, they are so screwed, Sam smirked. Good, they deserve it. Slagathor just downed his entire drink in one long, suffering gulp. Doug, meanwhile, was having a full existential crisis. Wait, so we actually won? Big Mike patted him on the back. We don't lose, Doug. We just accidentally destroy things until we win. Doug considered this and nodded. Yeah, okay. That checks out. Hack closed the news feed. So what's the final move, boss? We just leave? Sam stretched, cracked her knuckles, and picked up her bowl of stolen pineapples. Yep, she said. We made our point. Time to go home. Boomer looked disappointed. No final explosion, no last-minute hostage situation. Sam gave him a long, flat look. Boomer, you destroyed a space station, collapsed their military, hacked their economy, and blew up their palace. I think we've done enough. Boomer sighed. Yeah, okay. But it feels wrong to leave without at least one more explosion. Doug tripped over nothing, knocked over a torch, and set an entire tapestry on fire. Everyone stared as flames spread rapidly through the throne room. Boomer grinned. There it is, Sam sighed. Let's go before we burn down the entire planet. The B. USS Extra Spicy blasted off from the palace courtyard just as the fire reached the Emperor's personal wine cellar, causing a massive explosion behind them. As they left Gorgo Prime's atmosphere, Sam leaned back in her chair, munching on a pineapple slice, watching as the capital planet grew smaller in the view screen. Hack, adjusting the ship's coordinates, smirked. So, do we just go back to Earth and pretend this didn't happen? Boomer raised a hand. Counter-proposal. We sell our story as a movie deal. Big Mike nodded. I could play myself. Doug frowned. I feel like I'd be recast. Sam chuckled. Nah. Doug, you're too unkillable to leave out. A sudden alert popped up on the console. Incoming transmission. United Nations. Space Force. A very stressed-looking Admiral Whitaker appeared on the main screen, rubbing his face. General Carter, he said. I don't know whether to arrest you or give you a medal. Sam took a long, slow sip of coffee. Well, sir, she said, since I already stole your most classified warship, invaded an alien empire, and committed at least 12 violations of intergalactic law, I think we both know you can't stop me. Whitaker groaned. Fine. Just don't start another war, Carter. Sam grinned. No promises. The Admiral sighed, disconnected the call, and most likely went off to have a very large drink. Sam turned to her crew. All right, folks, where to next? Boomer pulled up a map of nearby enemy strongholds. So, hear me out. There's this space casino I've been meaning to rob. Doug looked horrified. We can't just... Sam stood up. Set a course. Doug threw up his hands. Oh, for the love of, can we have one normal day? Hack smirked. Doug, we work for General Carter. Doug sighed. Yeah, okay, fair point. The USS Extra Spicy shot into hyperspace, leaving behind a smoking, panicked empire and a galaxy that would never forget the day they met the most dangerous mother in the universe. Somewhere in deep space, Admiral Whitaker poured himself a drink and whispered, God help us all.